mention because of all of the questions surrounding D'Angelo Russell. Cat is back doing cat things on the Minnesota side of the ball. But let's start with Golden State. We talked about value. We talked about this guy. I was kind of eyeing him already. I think that the phrase you uttered in the last podcast was "What's a Kai Bowman?" And that guy went out, Kai Bowman, and he's been balling. He's getting the minutes at starting point guard. No fewer than 35 minutes in his last three. He didn't play it well against Houston in the last time out, but the two games before that, he averaged over about 33 FanDuel points in almost a fantasy point a minute. And at 5,100, the price hasn't caught all the way up with his new role in this new look Golden State squad. So Kai
Oh no,
Bowman,
the price caught up. He just put up that dud and they dropped him right back down.
yeah,
I felt like such a fish on when was that Wednesday?
yeah,
The Wednesday slate. I had like 40% at 6,200, and I was like, this doesn't feel right. Like this guy has had two good career games. Like this does not feel right. And yeah, he went out there, played 35 minutes, and put up 14 fantasy points, and I lost my money is because of that. So, but it is what it is. But remember, we did talk about Alec Burks on Monday,
yeah. He
and
did his thing. Yeah, he did his
he
thing.
did it. He exploded, man. This guy can score. He can score, and he's one of the reasons why games can stay close.
Hmm.
So if they give him the minutes, he's gonna be the Lou Will type player where he just goes out there and he scores to keep teams in the game.
Yeah, I think he's definitely in that value section. Alec Burks definitely. It was between him and GR3, and Burks really just showed out in that last time out. So, what about Pascal? What about Eric Pascal? Kind of in that Draymond Green role. He's 6,500 now.
Yeah,
Uh,
that price tag is what's getting me.
mhm.
I just think that there's better ways to go right now. But again, if we get closer to lock and he's still projecting well, then I'll go for it. But I'm not going out of my way and locking this guy in.
Gotcha. What about Minnesota side of the ball? We know about Cat. He's there's really. I mean, Cauley Stein is back for the Warriors, but Cat should be able to eat and eat well in this game against the Warriors.
He smashes the Warriors every
Yeah,
game,
yeah.
every matchup.
I mean, he should. He should. I mean, are we thinking like 60, 70?
Yeah, I mean it's definitely in his range of outcomes.
Yeah. I mean,
I wouldn't be surprised to see it.
yeah. So Cat is definitely in a smash spot. Looking at the rest of the T Wolves, I don't like playing Wiggins with Cat back. Forget about that. Teagues, could be sick. Napier might be out, so I know Josh Okogie was supposed to run some point guard. He's 3,700, but on this slate, I don't feel like you need to roster him. I rostered him on Wednesday, and probably at the position I should have rostered Jared Culver. The young star who had a pretty good game in his last time out. So maybe I stay away from Okogie and stay away from any Minnesota other than Cat.
Yeah, I think for me, I don't mind the Culver play and the Wiggins play. If Teague is not playing, if Teague's playing, then I don't want any of those two. But if Teague's not playing and Napier is not playing, I should say that as well. And if they're both out, then I don't mind locking in some 3,800 Culver and Wiggins still has some upside at that 7,100, but I would proceed with caution.
Yep, definitely. All right, we'll keep it moving. New York, the Knicks. Another season, another bad start for the New York Knicks. They are in Dallas to take on Luca and his boys. We talked about their total in the open, the 217, kind of lowest total. Um, let's see. What about those Knickerbockers? There's got to be something that we can play here. Frankie Nicotine had a pretty good game this last time out. Uh, what else are you looking at here? I got R.J. Barrett as another kind of Nick that I like to roster because the minutes are there, the usage is there. Um, New York knows what they want to do with him. They want to just kind of showcase him as their feature guy.
Yeah, I don't mind RJ. like I said, with most of these guys, it's just the ceiling that I'm looking for. Um, but outside of that, Mitch Robinson is out. But they don't seem to want to give Bobby Portis more than 20 minutes or more than. Yeah, he's played exactly 20 minutes the last 3 games. Um, so that's not someone who would appeal to me as much, and if they're not going to give him that time. Have they been giving Taj any minutes at all?
I saw him get a little bit of run against the
Oh
Pistones.
yeah,
Yeah, he got a little bit of run against the Pistones.
they got 21 minutes. They
But it
got
was but it was
they
basically a
got Ivan
blowout.
Rabb. Like, oh my God, they have like 40 power forwards on this roster. Like, what are you doing, Julius Randle? I
Yeah.
guess with Mitch Robinson, I'll play. I'll probably have a ton of Julius Randle at 7K.
He should
I'll
pop.
probably have a lot
Yeah, I was gonna say
of Julius Randle.
Randall should pop on a lot of models. I know he popped on a lot of models on Wednesday. He'll probably pop again. I think going in for the Friday slate. So it's not
Yeah,
the world's worst player.
yeah, yeah. And outside of him, you can definitely roster the better Morris brother or the better Morris twin. And another guy. Well, Marcus Morris he's been playing great. He's basically been doing what he did last year when Kyrie was off the floor. Every time Kyrie was off the floor, Marcus Morris was a lock and load, and he played great. And this year at 6,400, he's still outperforming that price tag. So with any injuries out there, I think he'll do well. But you also got Kevin Knox, who's been getting some minutes back this over the last few weeks. So at 3,900, like that's some solid value right there because he has room for upside. You know, he's a young player, so if he's going well and he's playing well, they're gonna keep him in the game. They're gonna run him as many minutes as they need to if he's playing well. So at 3,900, that's a price tag with lots of upside.
Yeah, I actually do like Kevin Knox as well. So there's some things I like in New York. What about those Mavs? I mean, is it really just Luca and the Unicorn? Those two? Any other Mavs you're looking at?
Would this be a revenge game if Porzingis won it out?
Well, I think it could be a revenge game because the Knicks were kind of doing that slander business with him. So,
I've never
mm,
seen anyone traded as fast as
yeah,
Porzingis after demanding a trade.
right. It was
It
like,
was like Woj tweeted out Porzingis had demanded a trade, and then 2 minutes later Woj is like Porzingis is on his way to Dallas, and it's like what just happened?
it's the Knicks. The
Um,
Knicks happened, and I'm sorry for. I know there's some people in chat that are Knicks fans. I'm sorry,
yeah.
man. You guys just it's not a good scene in New York with these guys.
Yeah,
So.
but there's no one on the on this Knicks team who can even come close to guarding Porzingis. And at 8,400, he's still got that ceiling game in him. The last game is gonna scare a lot of people off because they're gonna see that 19 fantasy point outing.
That's what we
But they don't
want. That's
realize,
what we
yeah,
want. Yeah.
that's gonna drop the ownership. I'd much rather him have that 19-point outing as his last game rather than that 46-point outing as his last game because I would like to roster him at low ownership because when he goes off, man, that dude is going to go nuts.
Yeah, the skills are there, the talent is there. So yeah, for me, I think on Dallas it's those two, and as you mentioned, revenge game as a dish best served cold. I mean, the Knicks, he might do 50 FanDuel points on this old team.
It might be a revenge game for Tim Hardaway Jr.
Yeah,
I don't
and
think he won it out of New York, but
yeah,
he is, and he's going to be playing 25 to 27 minutes.
yeah.
So if he's hot, man, you know how Tim Hardaway can get.
Yep,
If he's
exactly.
hot, they're just going to let him ride, and they're going to keep feeding him and let him just jack him up.
Yeah,
But he's I only say that because he's very very cheap at 3,700 on FanDuel as small forward, which is always a dumpster fire. So
exactly.
there's definitely value there.
Gotcha. All right, so it should be a fun game to watch. Let's move on. Milwaukee at Utah on Friday night. We gave you that total of 216. Pretty much a pick 'em. These two teams gonna be playing deep into the spring. For Milwaukee, for me, let me look through this real quick. I mean, obviously Giannis, but he's under 12K, so but it is a bit of a pace down matchup. So I don't feel like you got to force in Giannis on the slate. And then if I'm looking, I've really gotten off the Chris Middleton train. Between Bledsoe and Hill, it's just a matter of who's gonna get the minutes. Maybe George Hill as a filler for your salary builds on this big 11 game slate. Yeah, there's not much beyond that. Something rubs me wrong about the Bucks this year in terms of, they beat the Clippers without Kawhi last night. I'm just not feeling it. So I mean, it's Giannis if you're looking for a stud, but don't feel like you got to force him on such a big slate. And then maybe one of Bledsoe and Hill, and that's really it for me. Anything for you with Milwaukee?
Not really.
Yeah.
I do like Giannis in these more competitive games because they just beat up on pretty much everybody that they play in the Eastern Conference. So it's always good to, like, he's going to be on the road at Utah. He's going to be feeding off the crowd. It's going to be a close game, so we like him in close games. We don't like him in those games versus the Wizards where they win when they're up by 40 at the end of the third quarter, and he sits the entire fourth quarter with 55 fantasy points already, and it's just like, come on, dude.
Exactly.
But again, this is another guy where if I'm rostering Giannis at 11-7, then I need some kind of correlation on the other side. So I would be going with Don Mitchell on the Utah side. If I think that Giannis is hitting his 70-point ceiling, then I need Don Mitchell to be hitting his 45, 55-point game. And I'm hoping for this game to go over in a situation like that.
Exactly, and it's key, and I like how you've mentioned a couple of the games we've gone over, that correlation. Be mindful of how you expect these games to play out. As you pointed out, if Giannis is going to go bananas, well, that means likely it's a close game, so someone on Utah's got to pick up the slack, and likely it's Spider Mitchell. So, yeah, I definitely
I would either match him with Mitchell or with Gobert, and to an extent Mike Conley. But Mike Conley has had a 30-point game, followed right after a 5-point game, right after a 37 and a 41, which was before a 4-point game. So, like, as you can see, like, you honestly have no idea what you'll get out of this guy. His standard deviation is probably like 45 by now. Like, it's just so bad. You're either going to get 4 points or you're going to get 40, and you're going to have to be okay with both of them. But again, this is all revolving around this game staying close, and Giannis, is going to be the reason why on the Bucks side, and it's just take your pick on who's going to be the reason why on the Utah side.
Yeah. So you mentioned Mitchell, you mentioned Gobert, you mentioned Conley. Anybody else? You like Joe Ingles or Bogdanovich?
Yeah, Bogdan always he's always going to be in play because he's another guy where if he gets hot, they just keep on feeding him the ball, and he does more than just score too.
Right.
So in these competitive games, that's when you want guys like this where you know that they have that ceiling to where if the game is close and he's the hot hand, they're just gonna keep on feeding him.
No doubt. Yeah, he might be a little sneaky play on the Friday night slate.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move it to your boys, the 76ers. They're my pick. If you listen to the first episode, they're my pick to win it, to at least get to the finals.
Yep.
They're gonna take on Denver. We mentioned Ben Simmons out on the shelf for three games here at a minimum. What do you like from the 76ers on the road, up in altitude? Is it just as simple as Embiid, Tobias, and maybe Josh Richardson with Ben Simmons kind of out of the mix?
No, when Ben Simmons left the last game, Raul Neto came in and played 30 minutes. This is a guy that wasn't really in the rotation. He did get playtime, but we just didn't play him much. But he's 3,700. If he's gonna play 30 minutes versus Denver, I don't care who he's playing against. At 3,700 in this offense, there's room for him to easily 6x this price tag. So Raul Neto will probably be one of the better value plays on the slate.
Okay. What about the other guys? Horford, Richardson.